Quickly, let's switch gears to the Colorado perspective. And of course, when Colorado, first of all, like coming into this game, I think there were a lot of people who thought, well, this is just going to be Oregon 2.0, right? Oregon beats Colorado 42-6. Oregon, there's all the Dan Lanning stuff, whatever. Why I bring it up is because when the game started and when it got ugly early, I saw all of the normal chatter that you would normally expect during a Colorado game. The people that don't like Deion Sanders, the people that don't like Colorado, the people that don't want to see him succeed. I heard, they're the most overrated team that I have ever seen. And I said, whoa, wait a second now. Are they the most overrated team, or are they just talked about more than you would like? Because one, we talk about them a lot because you guys and girls are interested. You can tell me that you don't care, but you care. They are the most talked about, discussed program in college football right now, but they are not overrated. This was a team that was projected to win 3 games coming into this season. They started 3-0. They lost to a top 10 team on the road, and going into Saturday, they were so ahead of schedule. So I bring it up because, yes, Colorado lost, but coming out of this game, Deion Sanders said point blank, if you can't see that we are on the way up, then you have blinders on. I don't know what else to tell you. You're a hater. And I actually happen to agree with Deion Sanders here. Even though they lost, I think there are a ton of positives to come away from this game. First of all, let's start with just, again, the narrative about Colorado even coming into this game before the performance as they do. Listen, it was a game that late in the game, they could have won 48-41. But again, I'm going to keep repeating it because I think it's worth bearing. Stop telling me they're overrated. Stop telling me they're this. Stop telling me they're that. This was a team that was picked to go 3-9. They were picked, 11th in the Pac-12, and the over-under win total was 3.5 wins. Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, brought in 65, 70 new players because they were literally the worst team in major college football last year. Joel Klatt keeps talking about it on all these broadcasts. It's not just that they lost games. They were embarrassed. They got killed. They got destroyed. So the fact that they've gotten to 3 wins in the first 5 weeks of the season, that's 3 more. That's 2 more than they had last year, 3 times the number of wins. But more importantly, they are so far ahead of schedule. And so when I look at this team, it's hard not to be excited about the future because of the fact that they are already doing things that people said that they couldn't do. Said that they weren't going to beat TCU, they did. Said they weren't going to beat Nebraska, they did. Said that they weren't even going to be competitive against USC, they were. And yes, USC has problems on the defense, but it doesn't take away from the fact that this team's ahead of schedule. More importantly, I think there were a ton of positives that came out of Saturday. First of all, you fight. You're resilient. You fall down early. You don't back down. And this was in a game where you were as banged up and beat up as you have been all season, and frankly, as beat up as you may be all season going forward. Remember, there's no Travis Hunter. It's obvious. You shouldn't need me to tell you. Travis Hunter is their best player on offense and their best player on defense. Best player on offense besides Shedeur Sanders. Elite wide receiver that, as Deion Sanders has said multiple times, could be a first-round pick as a wide receiver. Problem is, he is the best cornerback probably in all of college football. And so I'm not saying they would have won if he had played. That's not what I'm doing. But he was hurt. Shiloh Sanders, who has been a very good safety for this team through 4 games, he was not available. And so to have all that happen against the best pass offense, maybe in college football, not named Washington, and to be in this game late is awesome. I'm not saying, and by the way, and Deion said this, and Shedeur said this after the game, there are no moral victories in college football. I'm not saying that everyone should pat themselves on the back and give themselves a high five because they almost beat USC. They came to win that game. But again, the goal was never to win the Pac-12 title this year. The goal was never to compete for a national championship this year. It is at USC. It is at Oregon. It is at Washington. That was never the goal at Colorado. Beyond that, and I think this is the especially important part, you got to see some of those young guys, and those young guys are ballers, okay? And this goes a lot back to what we talked about on Friday's show. We talked about all the kerfuffle, if you will, with Cormani McClain. The 5-star freshman was not playing. Coach Prime was asked about it last week, and he basically said, the kid's not ready. He's not showing up on time. He's not prepared. He's not, we watch film of practice every day. We evaluate everyone every day, and he has not put himself in position to earn playing time. Well, whether it was because of injuries or whether it was because Colorado was down, he got thrown into the fire. So did Amarion Miller, the freshman. And what I love about Coach Prime doing it is this. I'm not saying that any player should be given playing time just because they have a 5-star next to their name or they were a top 50 recruit or whatever. But at the same time, you know what this kind of reminded me of on Saturday? And I think this is a really interesting and important point to make. I think most people that follow me know I love college hoops. I cover it pretty extensively, okay? And when you talk about college hoops, it's such a one-and-done, freshman-driven sport. And there are really two ways to approach these high-profile freshmen. There's the old school kind of Jay Wright, Roy Williams way, which is I'm going to put every single day, every single moment, every single game, I'm going to put the 5 best players on the floor that give me the best chance to win this specific game in this specific moment. And I don't care if you're a 5-star. I don't care if you're a 2-star, 50-year senior. If you're helping me win right now, then you're playing. And if you're a 5-star and you're not ready, I'm sorry, get your butt on the bench and stay there. I remember getting into a fight with Villanova fans years ago, because I said I would never send my son to play for Villanova if he was a one and done. And Villanova fans were like, what are we supposed to just put in whoever just because they're a 5-star? No, but that's how Villanova operates. On the other side, and I know I'm rambling, but let me explain. It's all going to come full circle. You have the John Calipari, Kentucky, Duke side of things, where they recruit the best high school players. They recruit guys they know are going to be one and done. And what John Calipari has basically done for years is he has essentially said, I am going to bet on talent over the long term. I'm going to play my freshmen. I'm going to play my 5-stars, and I'm going to have to deal with mistakes and whatever, and lapses and mental lapses and whatever. I need them to get reps. I need them to work through their mistakes. And then by the time we get to March, those kids are going to be ready to go. And you can criticize Coach Cal about one national championship, whatever. But the resume speaks for itself, 4 Final Fours, 6, 7 Elite Eights at this point. But that's his philosophy. And so to bring it back to Colorado, Coach Prime basically had his John Calipari moment where he's like, I'm waiting on these kids. I'm not sure if they're ready. I'm not even sure if they've earned this opportunity. But we're beat up, we're down, and I need to throw these kids into the fire and see what they look like when the lights are on. Are they ready to compete? Are they ready to play at this level? Well, Cormani McClain, the kid who got criticized last week by Coach Prime, and to be clear, if you missed it, I have no freaking problem with what he said at all. Cormani McClain played pretty well. Pass breakup in the end zone. And then, oh, by the way, on top of that, did have an interception that was ultimately called back because of a penalty. He looked good out there. Now, is he Travis Hunter? Is he the best cornerback in college football right now? No. But could you see the glimpses of what he could be in another year or two in a college weight training program with a little bit of maturity? If he shows up on time, if he does what he's supposed to do, you can see why he was a 5-star. Amarion Miller, 4-star wide receiver. It's the same thing. Hadn't gotten a ton of reps before Saturday. Coach Prime throws him into the fire. 7 catches, 196 yards, all in the second half. And so again, I'm not saying that you bump seniors to the curb and say, this kid's got to play. But now those kids have gotten a taste. Now, hopefully, and I don't know about the Amarion Miller situation, so I don't want to speak on it, but Cormani McClain, now that he's seen the playing field, hopefully he understands what it takes to get on the field and what it takes to stay there. And so you start looking at what Coach Prime said. We're trending in the right direction. I don't know how you can't feel that way. Because 1, you almost beat a top 10 team at home. 2, some of your younger guys got reps. You got 2 weeks until your bye week. You're going to get more healthy. And this is a growing, maturing process that we are seeing in front of our eyes. And so I can't wait to see how this thing evolves over the next couple of weeks. And I got a newsflash for you. If you think this is over, everyone's going to stop talking about them. No. Colorado plays probably the 2 worst teams in the Pac-12 this year. At Arizona State next week, Stanford at home the following week. They should win both those games. I'm not saying they will definitively, although I kind of think they will. But then they get their bye. They're going to go in their bye week 5 and 2. And again, the final few weeks of the season isn't about competing for a Pac-12 title, isn't about competing for a national championship. Get that 6th win, get bowl eligible so you can get all those extra practices, and then bust your butt in recruiting. And we know recruiting is going to be good. They had a big recruiting weekend this weekend. Their number one committed player actually announced officially that he will enroll in January. Aaron Butler, wide receiver from California. So this thing's only going to get better. I said it a million times. I'll wrap the segment on this. Coach Prime just said, if you can't see the positives that come out of a game like this for, again, a team that went 1-11 last year, a team that lost by like 50 points when they played at the Coliseum a year ago against USC, to where they were on Saturday and where they could be in another 3, 4, 5 weeks as they get into a bye, as they get healthy, as some of those younger guys get reps. I'm sorry, you're missing you can't see the forest through the trees, because I think there's a lot of positives that came out of Saturday.